reflection for today is on John chapter 6, verse 1 to 15. The feeding of the 5,000. Sometime after this, Jesus went off to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, or of Tiberias, and a large crowd followed him, impressed by the signs he gave by curing the sick. Jesus climbed the hillside and sat down there with his disciples. It was shortly before the Jewish feast of Passover. Looking up, Jesus saw the crowds approaching and said to Philip, "Where can we buy some bread for these people to eat?" He only said this to test Philip. He himself knew exactly what he was going to do. Philip answered, 200 denarii would only buy enough to give them a small piece each. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said, "There is a small boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what is that between so many?" Jesus said to them, "Make the people sit down." There was plenty of grass there, and as many as 5,000 men sat down. Then Jesus took the loaves and gave thanks and gave them out to all who were sitting ready. He then did the same with the fish, giving out as much as was wanted. When they had eaten enough, he said to the disciples, "Pick up the pieces left over, so that nothing gets wasted." So they picked them up and filled 12 hampers with the scraps left over from the meal of 5 barley loaves. The people, seeing this sign that he had given, said, "This really is the prophet who is to come into the world." Jesus, who could see that they were about to come and take him by force and make him king, escaped back to the hills by himself. This is one of the best known miracles performed by Jesus, and it is the only nature miracle to be recorded in all 4 Gospels. As Martin and I are still in self-isolation, my mind is often drawn to food and how to make our supplies of loaves and fishes last longer. And it's been amazing how far I've been able to stretch the constituents of a normal meal with just a little thought and no miracle needed. All of us can so easily overuse our resources of any kind without even thinking. We only have to look at the waste put out in our dustbins as an example. But hopefully, most of that can be recycled. When the worry of this virus is a memory, we still have the problem of global warming to contend with. So maybe we do need to think more and use a little less. We have no family living near us, but feel so lucky to live in Barwick. The Barwick post office and stores are giving such a wonderful delivery service that we can stay safely at home. And we're very thankful for that. A supermarket delivery slots are like gold. And we are also very, very fortunate in not having to worry about where the money is coming from to pay for it. The disciples in the Bible reading did not have that luxury, and neither do many people in the here and now. For example, the elderly and infirm. In many villages, towns and cities, if they have no family living near them, they have to rely on neighbours or charities to get the food they need, or go without. There are also those trying to manage on universal credit, worrying about paying bills, coping with rising prices, and having the children at home to feed. Fortunately, the disciples had Jesus to turn the donation of 5 loaves and 2 fishes into enough to feed the 500 hungry people on that hillside. He provided so much, there was plenty spare, as the people only took what they needed. Now I have to confess to enjoying shopping, but all too often confusing the difference between I want and I need. In the passage from John's Gospel, it is Jesus who is able to provide the food the people needed. He gave thanks for the bread and fishes and shared them with the people, as is done with the bread and wine at the Eucharist. He provided physical food, but also food for the spirit. The people listening saw this as a sign he was the prophet. So it says in verse 15. But maybe this story is saying more about who Jesus is. In the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 8, it says, Then Moses said, It is the Lord who will give you meat to eat in the morning, the evening, and as much as you want in the morning. Now I believe that the Lord will provide, but I also believe that does not mean we need to do nothing. Now we have to use the gifts that he has given us and be like the disciples in the miracle story. Be part of his distribution team. Then, in the way we live our lives, we can show his and our care for our fellow human beings in as many ways and as many places as we are able. Amen. Thank you, and stay safe.